Gabriel Suarez is the founder and owner of Tobacco Leafe Smoke Shop in Tallahassee, Florida. Tobacco Leafe separates itself from the local tobacco industry by offering a boutique and tailored buying experience unique to every customer. Tobacco Leafe carries hand-blown artesian glassware made locally, offering one-of-a-kind pieces presented in a beautiful showroom. I, Jay Cardenas, the writer, have been involved with the company's marketing activities since their second year. Today we'll join Gabe at one of Tobacco Leafe's glassblowing festivals, his office, and his store. Could you just state your name and Alright, could you state your name and what you do? Alright, I don't like to
My name is Gabriel Suarez, and I own a local smoke shop here in Tallahassee, Florida. I graduated from college, and it was time to figure out what to do, and I figured I'd try to be my own boss before I was someone else's boss, pretty much. I worked for small businesses, usually just by chance, for most of my jobs up until I graduated from college, and so I felt like I was a little familiar with, not with how to run a business, but just how the possibilities of being able to run a business, how my bosses weren't anyone special, they were just average guys that just had a local business. So I just figured to give it a try pretty much, and in hopes that it would work, and if not, I could always go get that office job that everybody else has, I don't have a business degree or much business knowledge. I've learned most of it as I go. So I just asked people that have businesses for advice on that, and for example, I asked 10 people and 8 out of the 10 said to do a certain one, so I went with that, pretty much.
One of the part-time jobs was working at a smoke shop here in town, and another part-time job was working at a skate shop, and another part-time job was working at an art gallery. All three jobs I had, I loved a lot for different reasons. So I tried to do something to incorporate all of those, and I thought maybe having some kind of art gallery with a smoke shop kind of combine where I can focus more on the art in the glass, not so much about just like the regular smoke shop aspect of a smoke shop. It was a void that needed to be filled in Tallahassee. There wasn't something like that. There wasn't something like that in most of the state of Florida, or even state of Georgia, or even most of the East Coast. There wasn't a place that you can walk into and get the same quality glass as you would get painting from an art gallery in anywhere around here. And me having that art degree and going through college as an artist and just meeting other artists, I appreciated that from a lot earlier than maybe your average person in this town did, and I kind of saw it as an opportunity to provide that service and have something like that for people to be able to come enjoy and come around. A lot of people just come and look at it, and they love just browsing the gallery because they're like, oh my god, I cannot believe it, all these are functional.
The pipes that Ben Gomez makes, they resemble insects out in nature or animals out in nature. I love his pieces in particular because they're not like every other piece that you see out there. Usually if people are walking past this piece or everything around it, being in a smoke shop, it's very similar to a traditional pipe. And these pieces being so sculpture and insect or creature-like, they stand out and attract attention. It's not really a piece that looks in any way smokable, and then you approach it a little closer and you pick it up and you're like, whoa, this looks like a mouthpiece over here. Well, you put some water in it and now it bubbles, and now you have a pipe. So a lot of people buy a glass sculpture, they pay maybe thousands of dollars for it, and then all they ever do is look at it. Now someone here is buying a glass sculpture for a couple $100, and they're getting to go home and play with it and socialize and use it and share it with their friends.
It's really fun messing with an entire day's worth of work, but it's also a little intense. That's where it's at. I mean, that's what I really enjoy in glass. Just making one piece, taking a bunch of little shapes and creating this one massive piece. The only place you can find these ants and other insects are at Tobacco Leafe in Tallahassee, Florida.
Tobacco Leafe is also known for its biannual glassblowing festivals. Gabe and Tobacco Leafe are deeply involved with the Florida state and local artist community, their main market. To keep up with the quick turnaround rate of a 4-year university, Gabe hosts yearly parties with free beer, giveaways, local bands, and plenty of sales.
Try to do one every semester. So, every semester there's a whole new crowd of students that come in, a whole new people that come in Tallahassee that are not familiar with the town, and this gives them an opportunity to meet new people, become social, maybe meet other Tallahassee people that have similar interests that they have they might not have met before, and also an opportunity for them to just hear about the store if they haven't, or hadn't had an opportunity to come browse or hang out or a reason to.
Free beer, free food, cannot have a better day than that.
I love Tobacco Leafe.
Pipes everywhere, free beer, free food, nowhere to get it.
Free beer is always good.
Yeah, and
hot dogs.
Tobacco Leafe. I love Tobacco Leafe.
There's plenty of other stuff in this store I can enjoy even if I don't enjoy the alcohol.
Word of mouth, Facebook, on like social media. We pass out flyers around town. We run ads around town with different advertising agencies that do different things. Yeah, so we've tried a little bit of everything. We regularly use social media and use like flyer and systems pretty much.
Tobacco Leafe's social marketing campaign is extensive. On the social networking site Instagram, Tobacco Leafe advertises daily sales, tips, and customer profiles. By directly involving their customer base and manufacturers, Gabe has created a community centered around the store. Sales are boosted, and their meteoric dividends are directly proportionate.
I borrowed some money, part from my family and part from some friends, and it wasn't very much. Where I know there's like a lot of students are located, or people, or where there's a lot of traffic, or just, you know, to my opinion, more busy areas or more concentrated areas, and I went and drove around those areas to see if there's any available things.
Everything in here I've designed and helped someone build. All the cabinets and display cases and even these windows in the wall behind us, they're fabricated just from wood from Home Depot that my buddy who's a carpenter made, who I sat down and just drew up, and then I helped him, you know, make some of it, but mostly he made. And all that I get to design and create. So that in that aspect I make a little bit of art like that. I get to be creative.
For the external theft, we have multiple employees working at all times, so there's never a time with just one person, or there's really a time where there's no one watching you or being able to see, and the whole store is set up where there's no blind spots really in the shop, where like there's no like a separate room or on a corner or something weird. There's no really tall cabinets that will block somebody can go around behind. So we try to make it a little harder to be theft. Obviously, I'm not saying we can't absolutely, you know, cancel it out, but it's a little bit of a harder target. We also, our store is set up where the employees are on the floor with the customer, so they're not on the other side of our counter. So it's a lot harder to steal because they're standing right next to you for the most part. For the internal theft, having two employees working at all times makes it a lot harder, because in order for an employee to steal, they would have to either do it when the other one's not around, or get the other one in on it. So you right away you can't just, you know, it creates a lot more of a challenge. You know, you can't just be your own little thief and steal things all the time, because you know you have someone with you at all times. You're never alone. Aside from that, we have a security system. So I'm looking at it right now as I talk to you, and behind you, you know, and I can see what's going on most of the time. I can see it from my cell phone, from my computer, so can the manager and most other people associated with it. So it makes it a little bit harder. We haven't had really an issue with internal theft. We have a resume system where people bring in resumes to apply. We don't have like an application, so it causes a little bit more of a, you know, you need to be able to take the initiative to even learn how to write a resume. So I feel like that's filters out a little bit of people that probably wouldn't have been our best employees anyway. And then from that, we just go through them and make a cycle of people that sound good, and come in and meet them and interview them and start winding it down, and eventually, you know, can cycle it down to one person. But nothing special. Most other people probably already have employees that you feel like you can trust. But then again, you can't just trust anybody, so it needs to be someone that's trustworthy, that's proven to be trustworthy, you know. And then they need to be able to be, you know, smart enough to supply best customer service for each individual customer, and be able to read a customer and be able to know what they want and how to treat them. We've grown exponentially since we've started. I would never imagine we'd be where we are right now in such a short amount of time. You know, we go through very little employees. We weren't quitting, we're not firing very much. It feels like it's a pleasant place to work, as well as a successful business for people that, as far as the business, you know, generate revenue to be able to grow. We've added tremendous amounts of new features to it, or things that we didn't have when we first opened. Yeah, and we have gained the following. The following we have gained since we've opened has also grown, which shows, you know, that it's obviously in some way successful. Let's see, probably when we first opened in a previous location we did have some external theft. Now looking back at that, we had somebody kick in a glass door, go in and steal some cigarettes, and that's probably like the worst thing that happened, because they took a trash can full of cigarettes. So that's quite a bit of cigarettes. And and we were really small at the time, so that was a big hit for us. So that's probably like the crappiest thing that's happened. But other than that, thankfully nothing, that bad. Knock on wood. Go for it. Get off the couch. Just everybody talks about all these ideas, but nobody gets off the couch and doesn't. Just go try shit. That's really the biggest problem with people. So that's my advice. Give it a try.
Through direct customer interaction and heavy investment in the FSU and Tallahassee community, Tobacco Leafe has established itself as a leading boutique tobacco industry retailer in North Florida.